All right, we are live and excited. Todd Cahill here on episode 2 of the YVY Show. And this is a show that we really help you to find ways to creatively kick your own ass and win right now in the time that we have, really in the next 30, 60, 90 days, where we want to just bring on some amazing people that are just everyday people like you and me that really have a vision, and they're taking massive action on the vision. So if you're just joining us, definitely go and holler at us, say where you're, maybe watching from, different states. We're excited to be here. I have a guest speaker today that her name is Adrienne Livingston. She's amazing. I can't wait for you guys to hear a little bit more about her story. She's in the Tampa, Florida area. She's going to be speaking a little bit about her background, but she's very unique in what she does. She has a special message for a lot of women out there. So I've been actually had the ultimate pleasure of being her coach for the past probably 5 or 6 months. Really helping her transform her life, really know what her message is, being able to share her message to the world. She knew already a little bit about that message when I met her, but really honing in on it. And I'm excited to really promote what she's doing tonight for a lot of people that suffer from a thyroid disease. And definitely I'm familiar with this because my wife has had it. My mom has it. A lot of women out there have some kind of thyroid disease. Or issues in their health when it comes to their thyroid. So she is definitely going to navigate that for all of you guys, but also share her heart and really inspire you to be able to, have passion in whatever that is that you do, your skill set, your mission, your calling, and really share that with the world. So Adrian, thanks so much for being on the show today. Thanks for, taking the time out of your busy schedule, I'm sure, like we're all just hanging out at home all over the world in about 140 countries. But thanks so much for your time. I'm going to pass it to you. If you could just share a little bit about who you are, that'd be awesome.
Thank you so much, Todd. I really appreciate it. I'm so honored to be here. My name is Adrienne Livingston. I go by Freedom Instigator. I am married with a dog and a cat, no kids. My passion is to help women be free and break the chains of this Western medical system, big pharma, if you will. So my goal is to help women be free of hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's. That is my calling. That's what I was set here to do. I myself had hypothyroidism 9 years ago. I was able to completely cure myself of that incurable disease when doctors told me that I would need to be on medication for the rest of my life or I would die. So now I've been able to do that, and now I'm helping other women do the same thing as well, and breaking those chains of being strapped to those pills every single month and every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you say in your bio that you help, women shift their mindset and break free of the bondage of the traditional healthcare system where they have become just a number. So, I coach a lot of women, and my heart definitely is helping a lot of women grow, not only in their their personal life, but also their professional life, and really help them, create some kind of, cash flow or business model or something like that. For you, because of your background and because of your story, you've really created such help on a private Facebook page. But tell me a little bit about, we'll get to that in a second, but how do you help women make that shift in their mindset? Maybe create that self-awareness of understanding, what they're being told here. Like you said, big pharma, maybe it's those funny commercials where you have the guy and the family and the kids, and they're all holding hands and they're swinging from the swings. And then it's like, take this medication. But then there's like half the commercials, like, you could commit suicide. You could die from this. You could have diarrhea. You could have bowel movement, and it's so laughable, and people are just kind of buying into the medication. But how do you make people, first of all, shift their mindset, and then also direct them into the holistic part of healing and that therapy, and really just being their best self health-wise?
So first, it really comes down, like you said, to self-awareness. So first, we have to stop masking all of our emotions, all of our symptoms with just pills, whether that's psychiatric medication or, pills that just only treat the symptoms. So first, what I do is I take them through a series of emotional trauma healing. So whether, their emotional traumas they manifest into physical diseases. So a lot of people aren't willing to go into that nasty closet of skeletons that they don't want to go deep in there. And so rather just take that pill every day, or,
Right.
you know, and mask symptoms of their emotions and their real problems, because they lack the self-awareness, because it's truly a very difficult thing to go into that and to really
Right.
dive deep into humbling yourself, and going into that self-awareness space. So I
Right.
take them through, you know, half of my coaching program is diving deep into their mindset first, because without that, you're never going to be able to heal yourself physically. And emotional traumas that are trapped in the body are going to manifest into physical disease, period. And we
Yeah.
have the power and the authority to take control over our physical bodies with controlling our emotions and dealing with our emotional traumas from either childhood or divorce or whatever that is. We have the power to heal that through our mind.
So let me
So
talk
that's
about
what I
this.
do.
Yeah, and because you're a woman, and I don't mean this as a sexist thing at all, but we've all heard that women are just more emotional than men. I don't know if that's 100% true. I think we all have emotions,
Totally.
but I think women do have, because of hormonal things and because of obviously different things that women have to go through that men don't, which I think are just incredible that women have to go through that. You know, more power to you guys. We so appreciate you. You guys have babies, okay? So it's a big deal. But how can we first get healthy in our emotions, both even as a male and a female? But let's talk to the female perspective first, as a female yourself. How have you personally been able to, in the past maybe even 6 months or the past maybe couple years, kind of deal with the emotional side? Because we know that if we're filled with anxiety, if we're filled with fear, if we're filled with even distrust, or if we have a bad relationship, it's kind of this, it really can affect us health-wise. So what have you seen in your own self, and how are we able to heal that? And then what can you tell somebody right now that's just kind of really unhealthy? And if you really dive into it, it all starts with their emotions first.
Right. So the battle obviously starts within yourself. And it's instead of blaming the outside things and blaming the husband or blaming your kids or blaming the job or blaming the president or blaming whatever your outside problems are, your mommy or your daddy or whatever they did to you as a child, going in and really taking a look at inside of yourself, because it's you versus you, just like you always say, just like the show is called. It is really you versus you. And we have to step up as women and understand that we are more emotional creatures, and we, you know, it's okay to have emotions, but it's not okay to vomit that on your spouse. It's not okay to vomit that on your kids. It's not okay to, you know, say, okay, well, I have this diagnosis and I'm just sick, and that's the way it is. And you husband or you kids or whatever, you're just going to have to deal with it. No, that's totally not acceptable. And we have to really dig deep inside of ourselves and become self-aware of our emotions. And like your guest yesterday, Tanisha, said, you have to take every thought captive. It's really, really important. I say this all the time to everybody, is taking that thought captive and really seeing that, hey, like, why am I reacting this way? What is causing me to react this way? And really trying to see and dissect, why are you reacting this way, and being proactive through meditation and things. So it's just, we have to really be self-aware.
So are people diagnosed with hypothyroidism or Hashimoto disease? Like, so that's a diagnosis, right, that a doctor makes?
Yes.
Okay. So, and a lot of people are diagnosed a lot with prognoses and stuff like that, even down to cancer. I've had friends with stage 4 cancer that completely healed themselves. Yes, they had a little bit of chemo there, but a lot of it was mindset. Then there's a lot of people that get a diagnosis of a disease and they die. They literally, like, they think it's the end of the world. I think a lot of us are diagnosed with disease, you know, especially now, maybe not from a doctor, but from even ourselves. So I want to talk about, you know, what's the perspective if a woman is diagnosed with some of what I mentioned, what is the best thing that she can do? And then also I want you to speak of the more metaphorical diagnosis of anxiety and fear that a lot of us are going through right now in the COVID-19 times that we face, that we're all home being quarantined. So if you could speak to both the practical side of what happens when someone actually is, and then also in the metaphorical side.
Yeah, so I deal with a lot of women who unfortunately, they get this diagnosis, and then they become like they own this diagnosis, and then they become this diagnosis instead of saying, how can I find another way to get through this? It's almost like we like to be a victim. So maybe people will baby us or coddle us or things like that. It's almost like society, we like to be a victim. I was that way myself completely. So there's no judgment here. But I literally would love to be coddled and babied, because that's what my grandma did to me my whole life, and I got into relationships that would do that. And even just, a couple of years back, like it's gross. It's not attractive at all. So, and dealing with the fear right now, I mean, that's a choice. It really comes down to a choice to be fearful, a choice to live out of gratitude. It is a choice, because I right now have zero fear. I am living in complete peace. I am excited every day. I'm so thankful. So I'm choosing to be that way, just like you are. And just like the people that we decide to surround ourselves, it comes down to all these choices of what are you feeding your mind? What you focus on grows. So what are you feeding your mind every day? Who are you hanging out with? Who are you listening to? Who are you getting your information from? These are all little micro choices that turn into a big problem. So it comes down to choice at the end of the day.
Yeah, I read in my book, one of the biggest battles that we face, and I always like to highlight it because it is the You versus You show, you versus your knowledge. And I love what you do, because you're also a coach, and we'll get to that in a second of how you coach women when maybe they have what we're talking about. But there's, obviously you versus your knowledge is Google. We're always in that battle of, if I could just Google something, so many people believe, especially when it comes to health on the internet. And a lot of it's just like, a lot of people kind of roll their eyes. Oh yeah, the news isn't fake. It is fake. There's a lot of fake news. And if you look at even CNN and you look at like Fox News and stuff, it's like now the thing is 3,000 dead. Tomorrow it's like almost a scoreboard of how many people are dying. But we don't know these people. I don't know. So I don't know if you know anyone that's has COVID-19, or it's just, again, I know zero, and there's so many like deaths that are going on right now, which obviously our heart goes out to the people. That's horrible. We don't ever want this to happen, of course, but it's like constant negativity. And then when you are diagnosed with something and you're around people that, oh, here we go, you're gonna have to take medication your whole life. Oh, you better get used to it. Oh, you better. And I love what you said. It says people like to be a victim. And I was watching a Mel Robbins show interview. She interviewed a morbidly obese woman who's probably 400 or 500 pounds. And the woman was just crying and crying. And Mel Robbins, if you know her, she's kind of in your face. She's not this loving person. She's like, look, how long are you going to be a victim of your obesity? Because what happened is this woman she didn't want to lose weight because she feels more loved when she's in a handicapped position, when she has to have attention to get her out of bed every morning because she's so morbidly obese. So it's just crazy to me personally, but I can get the psychology of it. So whether you're morbidly obese, whether you have hypothyroidism, whether you have Hashimoto's disease, you can fall into that, oh, please feel sorry for me, and you're going to get more love. It's like when something bad happens to you, you're going to get more love because more people are more concerned, as opposed to when you're crushing it and you're successful and you're doing well, people are almost jealous of you. So what is the you versus knowledge that you've been through, going from maybe that in the past, like you said, being a victim, to how did you rise up and win this battle within yourself?
Gosh, it wasn't just like one thing. It's never just like this one thing. It's, first of all, the first step to anything is realizing you have a problem. I mean, they even say it in AA, and I'm not a huge fan of AA, but they even say it in AA. There's a reason for that, is realizing, okay, I have a problem. I was told by multiple different people who I respect and love, hey, there's this thing doing that's happening that people from that I respect. And so I'm like, okay, there's something I should look at here. If multiple people are telling me the same thing about this, maybe I should look into it. Maybe I'm tired of I'm tired of the same life that I kept living, going into the same types of relationships with the same type of men or women, even just going in. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to live like this anymore. This is insanity and I want to change. And the only way to do that is to be self-aware first and realizing that you have this issue. Second is obviously, you know, I listen to podcasts, I read, I feed my mind, I feed my soul, I feed, you know, what you focus on grows. So I focus on positive, I focus in, you know, mentors. I have a coach, which is you. You know, there's certain things that you do. It's not just one thing. It's a whole lifestyle change. And it's not just, okay, well, I'm just going to eat healthy and I'm going to diet and then I'll feel better. It's not just that, but although that's very important, but it's also dealing with your emotional shit. And people don't want to deal with the past stuff. So that obese woman that you're talking about, she clearly has some emotional traumas that she is not dealing with because she likes being a victim. She's comfortable in that situation because she's being coddled and more loved, because maybe she was lacking love in her childhood and, you know, it manifests down the road, and people don't want to look at that because it's too painful. It's just too painful to go back and look at that. And I don't want to ever say to, you know, spend time in your past, but sometimes you need to just deal with it and then move the fuck on.
Right, exactly. So how does somebody deal with their past though? Like, what, you know, how does somebody deal with their emotions to get them under, you know, wraps a little bit? You know, for me, it's been meditation. It's been working with people that know how to do the emotion code on me, or the body code, of muscle testing. Obviously what we teach on our Inside Out coaching program. But what has really stood out for you personally? Because obviously I know you, obviously you've told me things, obviously being your coach, but, and I know, like me, you've also had traumatic things happen to you, like most people have. Everyone's different, of course, not everyone's the same, but how have you been able to really deal with that and also move on and not be in your past and break that neural loop of negativity where you've had that self-awareness that you can get addicted to it? So just like cocaine, just like you said, you know, Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, people are addicted to a drug, they're addicted to alcohol, but people don't realize they could be addicted to their being a victim. They could be addicted to the negative people around them. They could be addicted even more than anything to just negative in their life. And they just have to make that shift. It's kind of a simple thing, but they have to, first of all, break that neural loop. So how are you able to break that neural loop in that negative side for you to walk in your full power and now even be a coach yourself and empower women that were like you maybe years ago and bring them kind of into that self-awareness that we're talking about?
Number one, it's been meditation, hands down, period. Like, meditation has changed my life. That book you recommended to me, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, that changed everything for me, like everything. The emotion code has been huge, like huge. And having accountability like you and having a coach, those two things have been massive for me. So that's why I love this program, your coaching program as well, because it's really helped me, one, keep me accountable. Two, the emotion code has been huge. It is release things that I have been trying to release. I remember telling you in the very first conversation, like, I have done everything when it comes to, you know, Reiki, like therapy, counseling, you name it, I have tried it all, and nothing was getting deep down into that except for, you know, that emotion code. That was huge for me. You know, and meditation. I mean, absolutely. There's nothing like it.
And let's talk about real time. Like right now, you know, today's March 31st. We're going into April 1st. President Donald Trump said that we're going to be basically home as a country till April 30th. I think that's probably a lot of different countries are probably following suit. We've had, you know, he has basically his meetings every single day, Monday through Friday, that people tune into. But let me just talk about what you mentioned. You talk about books that change your life. You talk about coaching that's changed your life. You talk about podcasts. I just got an email from my publisher today, and I saw the statistic: 90 million Americans listen to podcasts weekly. 90 million. There's only 330 million Americans. So what is that? A third basically of Americans are listening to podcasts. So podcasts are
every day.
Every day, they're huge right now. And then you talk about meditation. So, you know, what we teach in the Inside Out coaching program is also the science of achievement. And we talk about like knowing what your vision is and knowing what your annual goals and your day-to-day and really getting into a routine. So what would your advice be to anyone watching this, whether they're live or on the replay and the different platforms? How is getting into routine so important now, even though the temptation is, hey, I don't have to go to school. I don't have to get up for a job. They could just kind of sleep in, go to bed late, eat whatever they want. They're going to the kitchen. They're by the kitchen all day. How important is it to have that routine, and how has a routine really shifted your life recently?
It's so important that our lives depend on it, literally. Like this is the time where the weak show their weakness and the strong show their strength. This is the time when you rise up. This is the time where your true colors will show. And this is the time, like God has literally put this on our laps, and we can make it a really amazing thing. Yeah. And we can get into that routine. We can come out on the other side a million times better. Like right. There's some of us, who, not me, but there's some people who got fired or laid off from their jobs and they have nothing to do right now. So you can either sulk in it or you can rise up in it. And now is the time to rise up. This is the time where God's children this is our time. Yeah. Like whether you're a believer or not, this is the time to rise up. And it's so important that you get into a routine, a morning and nightly routine, meditation, reading, working out, sweating, getting outside in the sunshine, writing down what you're grateful for, because in a state of gratitude, you cannot have fear. They cannot coexist. Right. So if you want to get out of that, these are the little things that don't cost money. They're totally free. You can make the time. I don't care how many kids you have, you can make the time for, a half an hour or an hour even to do this routine. It's going to be vital for your life, and you're setting yourself up for success when you do this, coming out of this. Absolutely. Because we are going to come out of it. Yeah, we are going to come out of it, but let's talk about really let's go boom, boom, boom in the next really 9 minutes here, because you talk about the skill set that you've had to develop recently. So by you launching a new coaching program, you taking action, knowing your message, knowing how to share your message, and also even monetization, how to earn money from your passion, from your message. What has been hard for you, and also what has been empowering for you? If you could share kind of both of the kind of what scared you, but you still did it, but then also how much fun it is when you do it. Well, just being on camera, for one of the little things that was actually the biggest, it was the thing that was holding me back from a lot of business success, not just, personal, but it was just being on camera. Like being on camera was the most scariest thing. I used to cry before. It's ridiculous, honestly, but once you do it, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So that just goes to show you that true happiness is right on the other side of that fear. Whatever that is, the true epic joy and happiness in all your dreams and hopes. I know that sounds cliche, but that is literally right on the other side of that fear. That thing that's holding you back is your own fear. So, it just goes to show you, like, even the scariest little thing to you is it can be such a big thing on the other side of it. So that was very scary for me. I overcame that. Obviously I'm here and it's no big deal and I'm fine. And I do it all the time. So that was really scary for me. I pushed through it, and I'm so happy that I did, because now I can connect with people. Now I can help people. Now everything is right on the other side of that stupid fear that I kept telling myself, like, oh my God, people are going to judge me. Oh my God, I don't look good enough, or whatever bullshit I was telling myself. Yeah. It was holding me back from a lot of good things. For sure.
Well, that's powerful. And if anyone's obviously watching this live or in the replay, it's definitely comment like, wow, what are you getting out of this message? Because Adrian has just given us nugget after nugget after nugget. And I think working with people for almost 2 decades, I've always kind of wondered why people don't take more action. I have been maybe an anomaly, because I don't know where I'm wired or how my DNA is, whatever. And, my inherited good stuff is I'm massive action, but sometimes that also can hurt me too. But I'm glad I'm that way. But I think so many people are paralysis by analysis, especially now more than ever. Yeah. So what would be some practical tips right now that you can give in the next 60 seconds? You're like, don't watch TV, get off the news. Get your notifications off your cell phone. Make this your best friend, not your worst enemy. What are some things that you're doing to shield yourself, like shields up, hedge of protection, like we pray to God, to protect yourself practically from the world's misery, from the world's negativity? What are you doing in that respect?
One, first of all, I'm meditating twice a day. I'm writing down the things that I'm grateful for, because fear can't live in a space of gratitude. I'm not allowing even my own parents to call me with their bullshit of news, because my dad is constant. No offense to my dad, but I'm not allowing, I'm very guarded. I guard everything. I do not watch the news whatsoever. I don't engage with people. There's a lot of people that are trying to find, misery loves company. So you have to shield yourself from the people too. So getting outside in the sunshine, being thankful, praying to God, thanking God for everything that you have, like that is huge. Being in a state of gratitude, meditation, eating the right foods, taking the right supplements, just taking care of yourself in all ways, like, being a creator instead of a consumer on your phone. That's huge too.
Yeah. It's so amazing because, I think we're so conditioned by society. Even if you look at our educational system and, what are people doing right now? They're home, maybe isolated, but they're texting. They're saying, what are you doing? I don't know. What are you doing? And fear begets fear, right? Or gratitude begets gratitude. So like attracts like. And law of attraction is a real law in our universe created by God, okay? Or whatever you believe in, source energy, universe. But I do believe in law of attraction. But here's how law of attraction works. Law of attraction can only work on who you are as a person. So if you are a negative person, then you're going to attract negative people. If you're a positive person, you're going to attract positive people. Now, I'm not saying negative news is bad. You got to, no, don't tell me any negative news. That's not maturity either. I mean, yeah, tell me what's going on. I need to be able to prepare, but I'm not focusing on the negativity. I'm going to run with it. This is a time I'm going to launch my business, my company, like you're doing. So tell me specifically about, because you've been doing this, because you've been coached, because you invested in yourself, you're obviously already getting a return on investment, but now it's really the best part of it. This is where God smiles down. You're getting a return on mission. You're doubling and tripling your talent. So tell us in the last few minutes here, what do you do? Where can people follow you? What do you do? What's the coaching program? How do you help women? I can't imagine how many women that you're going to help in 2020. It's going to be phenomenal. So I'm going to give you the floor. Just kind of, this isn't a pitch from you, but it's just more of a conversation of this is what you do and this is how you do it. I'd love to hear about it.
Yes. So I do one-on-one coaching. And actually right now I'm doing 75% off because of this whole thing that's going on. And I understand that people need help. So I'm doing 75% off. I'm doing a 3 to 6 months coaching program with me personally. So that's one-on-one coaching that you're getting.
Okay.
I go through all of the emotion first, and then we go into the physical, because emotion is first, physical is second. You can find me on Facebook, Adrienne Livingston. My Facebook group is the Thyroid Code. There's also the Thyroid Code page. And then my Instagram handle is at Freedom Instigator.
Absolutely. And you have some great content on Instagram. So follow her on Instagram. What is your Instagram handle again? It's at Freedom Instigator, right?
Yes, Freedom
Cool.
Instigator.
Just like it says here, that we should just name you. You're now Freedom Instigator Livingston. Okay, that's your new name. And it looks like you have a fan here, and his name is Kyle. I don't know if you ever heard of Kyle Livingston. He thinks this is the best show. I know, he's probably in the other room. But awesome. So wrapping up, Adrian, awesome. This has been an awesome interview. Let's kind of end on a strong note here, and just really, people are watching this. They're going to watch the replay. They're going to watch it on your page. They're going to watch it on my page. What's the number one best thing that you can tell someone right now if they're struggling with depression, anxiety, fear, health issues? What would be like the one thing that you would say, hey, if you're watching this, let me look at the camera, let me connect with you right now, one-on-one, mano-y-mano. What would be the one thing that you would tell people leaving this interview today?
God is not going to fail, and he has a plan. So trust and have faith and get yourself a coach.
That's awesome. Where's So I will say, for me personally, this is a great time to, definitely read what God has in plan. If you haven't read the Bible in a while, and even if you, maybe don't believe in God as much, maybe, or at all, I think the world is getting more spiritual. I think the world is looking up a lot more. And instead of chasing the outside stuff, they're really looking on the inside, and really why they maybe are in this particular situation. Great. but how they can excel, how they can take off, how they can give back. I mean, I love John Krasinski, and he has a new show. It's called Some Good News. And man, we just need more good news. I mean, there's so much good news happening out there. It's insane. So you have to, so it's the same thing. It's like, put on the good news, whether it's on your phone, on the TV, or read the good news right here, the BIBLE, right? Or read some books. Here's the You book. I know, Adrian, you definitely have a book in you. You better be writing a book soon, because that's going to be awesome to see that come alive for you. So we really just appreciate Adrian, appreciate the value that you've added on the You show. Guys, check her out, Freedom Instigator. She has so much good content, so many beautiful videos and posts, and follow her on Instagram. Definitely send her a DM because her heart is huge. I know that she'll just reach out to you and just meet with you over the phone, do a discovery call, and just really pour into you so that you're already getting the value right away. Because anyone that I interview is just like me. We just want to pour into people. We just want to add value first and foremost, to then kind of direct them in the path that obviously that person wants to go. So with that said, thanks so much for being on, Adrienne. And I appreciate every single one of you guys that are watching. Absolutely. So we'll see you tomorrow. This is every Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Central, the You show. And again, I'm going to have guests every day. And really the theme is not celebrities or not influencers. I just want everyday regular people like you and I that basically are doing significant things with their life. That's really the theme of our show. I can get a lot of great people on that you guys know their name, but I just want to stick with people that, hey, I'm starting this, I'm launching this, to give you guys ideas, different perspectives, different things that when you're sitting at home, you can take 30 minutes a day, take some notes and say, oh, I have an idea. I have a creative idea. I can implement this. I can reach out to Adrian. I can reach out to Todd. I can reach out to whoever it is, and we can help you thrive and not survive. Okay. Yeah. So with that said, thanks, Adrian, again for your time. And thank you for everyone that's watching.
Thank you so much, Todd.